In Bokaro village, there was one rule everyone followed. Never open your door after 3 a.m. But when the stranger knocked, he knew their names. He knew their sins, and he came for payment. Bokaro was a village that held its secrets close. Nestled between the Ogun River and the Whispering Forest, it was a place where everyone knew everyone. Or so they thought. For generations, the elders taught one sacred rule. Grandmother Yemi would gather the children under the great Iroko tree every evening as the sun painted the sky in shades of fire and gold. Her voice, though weathered by age, carried the weight of truth. Listen well, my children. When darkness claims the world and the rooster has not yet sung, when the hour passes 3, do not answer your door. No matter who calls, no matter what you hear. The children would lean in closer, their eyes wide with fear and wonder. They said it was to keep evil out. But some whispered it was to keep secrets in. Every soul in Bokaro carried something hidden, some heavier than others. Chief Adeyemi was beloved by all, a man of dignity and respect, with his burgundy agbada flowing as he walked, his leopard-headed staff striking the earth with authority. Children would run to greet him, women would bow, men would seek his counsel. But at night, when the village slept, the chief counted money by lamplight, money that did not all come from honest trade. 5 years ago, he had made a promise to a dying man. Care for my widow, Adeyemi, protect her farm, keep my children fed. The chief had nodded solemnly, but promises are easy to make and easier to break. He sold the widow's land, kept the money, and when she came begging, he turned her away. That winter was harsh. The widow and her children starved. But the chief? He slept soundly. Or he used to. Mama Flakey was known throughout Bokaro as a healer of great power. Her hands could mix herbs that cured fevers, stopped bleeding, eased pain. Mothers brought their sick children to her. She would smile, touch their foreheads, and within days they would be running and playing again. But there was one life she did not save. 7 years ago, a young girl came to her door at midnight, pregnant, desperate, terrified. Someone had paid Mama Flakey a large sum, enough to feed her own family for a year. The task was simple. Give the girl something to help her. The girl drank the mixture. By morning, she was dead. The child with her. Mama Flakey buried the memory deep, locked it in a chest along with the blood money. But some things refused to stay buried. Brother Tunde led the morning prayers. His voice would rise with passion, calling the villagers to faith, to righteousness, to the light. He wore a wooden cross around his neck. His Bible was worn from reading. His sermons moved people to tears. But at night, when the chapel was empty, Brother Tunde served something older. Hidden beneath his prayer mat were fetishes, bones, carved idols, tools of the old religion, the religion of blood and sacrifice. 2 years ago, a boy went missing from the village. 7 years old, bright eyes, loved to chase chickens. The village searched for weeks. They prayed, they wept. They begged Brother Tunde to intercede with God. He prayed publicly, his face twisted in anguish. But privately, he knew exactly where the boy was. Under the chapel altar. A sacrifice for power, for protection, for favor from the gods who demand blood. Brother Tunde's hands had made the offering, and those hands still trembled with the memory. And then there was Amara, the most beautiful girl in Bokaro. Her skin glowed like polished mahogany. Her eyes, the color of honey, could stop a man's breath. Everyone wanted her. Chiefs sent gifts, young men composed songs, elders offered dowries for their sons. But Amara belonged to someone else. 5 years before, she had been different, poor, desperate, her mother dying of illness, her younger siblings crying from hunger. One evening, as the sun bled into the horizon, Amara walked to the edge of the whispering forest. She stood at the boundary between the human world and the world beyond, and she called out. Something answered. A figure emerged from the shadows, tall, wrapped in darkness, eyes glowing like dying embers. Spirit voice. What do you seek, child of earth? Young Amara. I need help. My family is dying. I'll do anything. Spirit voice. Anything? Young Amara. Anything. The spirit smiled, though it had no mouth. Spirit voice. Beauty, wealth, fortune, all this I will give you. Men will love you. Doors will open. You will never hunger again. But when you marry and carry life within you, your firstborn child belongs to me. Young Amara hesitated, but the sound of her siblings crying echoed in her mind. She nodded. The next morning, everything changed. Her skin glowed, her eyes captivated. Wealth found her family, her mother recovered. Amara had forgotten the price. Or perhaps she hoped the spirit would forget too. But spirits never forget. And now, 5 years later, Amara was pregnant. The debt was coming due. It began on the night of the new moon, when darkness was absolute. Chief Adeyemi lay in his bed, tossing beneath the weight of his own mind. The money he had counted earlier felt heavier tonight. The widow's face kept appearing in his dreams, gaunt and accusing. A rooster crowed in the distance, then stopped abruptly. The chief's eyes opened. Something felt wrong. The clock on the wall showed 3:07 a.m. And then 3 knocks. 3 knocks. Slow, deliberate, heavy as judgment. Chief Adeyemi sat up slowly, his heart pounding like war drums in his chest. Chief Adeyemi. Who is there? The stranger. Adeyemi? His name, spoken by someone who shouldn't be there. The chief's blood turned to ice. I said, who is there? What do you want? The widow Abeni. Do you remember her, Adeyemi? Her late husband made you a promise. On his deathbed, you held his hand. You looked into his dying eyes, and you said, I will care for your family as if they were my own. Sweat poured down the chief's face. That was... How do you know? You took her farm, Adeyemi. Sold it to the highest bidder, kept the money for yourself. She came to you begging, her children crying with hunger. Do you remember what you told her? You told her the land was never truly hers, that her husband's debt needed to be paid. There was no debt. She starved that winter, Adeyemi. Her children too. Their bodies grew thin, their eyes went hollow. Do you remember their faces? The chief covered his ears, squeezing his eyes shut like a child hiding from monsters. That's a lie. Go away. You have no right. No right. I have every right, Chief. I am the keeper of debts, the witness to broken promises, and your debt is due. Began to move on the walls, stretching, reaching toward the chief like accusing fingers. I'll return tomorrow, when your secret is ready to be told. Silence. The chief sat trembling until dawn broke. He never slept again. Morning came, but it brought no comfort. Chief Adeyemi walked through the market like a ghost. His eyes were hollow, his shoulders hunched. The man who once commanded respect now inspired whispers. Market woman 1. Did you see his eyes, like he's seen death itself? Market woman 2. Something happened to him, something dark. Market woman 3. My grandmother warned of such things. When a man is marked by the spirits, fear spreads faster than fire in a dry season. By midday, everyone knew something was wrong with the chief. By evening, they were locking their doors early. That night, it happened to someone else. Mama Flakey was grinding herbs when her hands began to shake. She dropped the mortar, and it shattered on the floor. She stared at her trembling hands, and a cold knowing settled in her chest. Mama Flakey. No, not me. Please, not me. That night, she didn't sleep. She sat in her chair, staring at the door, praying to gods she wasn't sure were listening. The clock showed 3:15 a.m. And then 3 knocks, the same slow, deliberate rhythm. Mama Flakey's breath caught in her throat. Flakey. Her name spoken like a judgment. No, not tonight, please. 7 years ago, a girl came to your door, pregnant, desperate, only 16 years old. You gave her poison, Flakey. You told her it was medicine. You told her it would help with her problem. She trusted you. By morning, she was dead, her unborn child with her. Do you remember how much they paid you? Enough to feed your family for a year. Her spirit wanders still, Flakey. She's looking for her child, and she's looking for you. Mama Flakey collapsed to her knees, sobbing silently, her thin body shaking with the weight of 7 years of buried guilt. Tomorrow, your secret will be known. The healer who had saved so many could not save herself. By the 3rd day, panic had taken root in Bokaro village. 2 of the village's most respected had been visited by something that knew the unknowable. Brother Tunde led morning prayers, but his voice cracked. His hands trembled as they held the Bible. Brother Tunde, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. The words felt like ashes in his mouth. He knew he was next. That night, he didn't even try to sleep.
He knelt before the chapel altar, praying desperately, bargaining with God for mercy he knew he didn't deserve. The clock showed 3:03 a.m. And then
Dawn came. The village square filled with everyone in Bakaro. Grandmother Yemi stood with the four in the center. Chief Adeyemi stepped forward first, his voice shaking but clear. "I stole from Widow Abeni. I took her farm, sold it, and kept the money while she and her children starved. I am guilty, and I am sorry." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Anger, shock, some wept. Mama Flakey spoke next. 7 years ago, a girl came to me. She was pregnant and desperate. I was paid to give her poison. She died, and her child with her. I am a murderer. The crowd recoiled. Some shouted, others stood in horrified silence. Brother Tunde, tears streaming down his face. 2 years ago, a child went missing. I took him. I sacrificed him to the old gods for power. His bones are beneath the chapel altar. I am a monster. Chaos erupted. Men surged forward. Grandmother Yemi raised her staff. They stopped. Finally, Amara. 5 years ago, I made a deal with a spirit. Beauty and wealth in exchange for my firstborn child. I forgot my promise. I tried to run from it, but I was willing to let others pay the price for my cowardice. I am selfish, and I am ashamed. The villagers were silent now, processing everything. Truth is a blade that cuts both ways. It wounds the speaker, but it also heals the listener. Widow Abeni stepped forward, old and frail, tears in her eyes. "My children died hungry because of you." Chief Adeyemi bowed his head. "I know. I will spend the rest of my life trying to repay you." A woman in the crowd, the mother of the girl who died. "My daughter, my baby!" Mama Flakey walked to her, note before her. "I cannot bring her back, but I will serve you, your family, for the rest of my days." The mother didn't forgive, but she didn't attack either. She simply nodded, tears flowing. The father of the missing boy stepped forward, face twisted with rage and grief. "You took my son." Brother Tunde didn't run, didn't defend himself. "I did, and no punishment you give me will ever be enough, but I will accept it." The father raised his hand as if to strike, then lowered it, sobbing. Justice is not always immediate. Forgiveness is not always given. But truth begins the healing. Night fell. The four stood at the edge of the village. The stranger appeared one final time. "You have paid your debts, not with life or power, but with something more valuable: honesty, shame, the willingness to face consequence." The floating items from before, pouch, vial, bone, mirror, dissolved into smoke. Your secrets are no longer chains. They are scars, and scars remind us not to repeat the wounds. The stranger turned to Amara specifically. "Your child will be born free. No debt remains.
But remember what you learned. Bargains with spirits always cost more than you think." Amara placed her hand on her stomach, nodding, tears of relief streaming down her face. And then, as mysteriously as it came, the stranger walked into the forest and vanished.